So it looks like we are live everywhere. Welcome to this week's Q&A. I haven't seen any questions. I have loved seeing those of you in the salad challenge. And I do want to remind you that the 5-day reset starts 1 week from today. I need the reset. I need it. Yes, even health coaches need coaches and they need resets. This summer, I have really let things slide. And so I'll talk about that at the end. So this week, I want to talk about blood sugar because I decided I meant to bring it with me to start testing my blood sugar this week. I've mentioned before, I just haven't been feeling so great since the middle of May. I'm looking for answers, right? And so one thing was my oat milk. I showed you all the ingredients. I had tested it before. I had no idea I had corn in it, and corn causes my antibodies to go up. And so definitely no corn. But I also don't eat oats because oats cause my blood sugar to go up, which is the opposite of what we hear from some people. Some people eat oats to control their blood sugar. And so I thought, wait a minute, I'm drinking oat milk. Is my blood sugar going up? And so I started testing my blood sugar yesterday. I actually ate oats to see what would happen. So backstory, I always have my clients have their A1C checked. Unfortunately, you have to ask your doctor to have it checked. We've talked about this several weeks, but your hemoglobin A1C shows how much sugar is attached to your red blood cells, which live for about 120 days. So it gives you about a 3-month span of how your body is handling sugar, how many sugar molecules are stuck to your glucose. And so it's a wonderful marker. And so mine was 4.8, which is optimal, right? It's like excellent. Last time I had it checked, but that was last October. And so I think that I decided because my A1C was so great, I didn't really need to worry so much about blood sugar. That's something that other people need to worry about. So long story short, I ate oats yesterday to see what would happen, even though I've been drinking the oat milk and not testing it. And my blood sugar went up to 168. And that is really high. That is much higher than I want, but I don't normally eat oats. I just did it as an experiment. I even combined it with bananas, which also cause blood sugar to go up. So 168 isn't really high for some people, but that is way too high for me. And my blood sugar was still high when I got up this morning. So I'm going to be testing it after I ate breakfast. It only went up to 107. My breakfast was awesome. I had strawberries and blueberries, which sometimes blueberries cause people's blood sugar to go up, but I had my grain-free porridge and some Brazil nuts. It was right where I wanted it to be. And so I need to make sure that I check it all throughout the day. So should you be concerned about blood sugar? And the short answer is yes. All of us need to. So the statistics are that 23% of adults, it's almost a quarter of all adults in the US, don't even know that they have diabetes. 23% of the adults in the US who have diabetes don't know they have it. So I'm not saying 25% do, but a quarter of the people who do have it don't know that they have it because they don't know certain symptoms can be related to it, and because their doctors don't test things like hemoglobin A1C, which is so important. That's not the only marker, but it is one that I wish their doctors would check. They should check that. They should check fasting insulin as well as fasting glucose. How many times have you had annual blood work and they didn't even tell you to fast, or you didn't know how to fast appropriately before your blood work? That fasting glucose is only one number. It doesn't tell us a lot. We need all the numbers to show us. The rates of children and adolescents, as far as diabetes is concerned, is skyrocketing. Just under 50% of all adults 65 and older have prediabetes or diabetes. And so half of adults, that's crazy. And it causes so many problems. So we think of candy and high sugar foods. Well, if you follow me, you see I post what I eat every day. I do eat things like frozen cherries. I love that at night. And I do eat dark chocolate chips occasionally at night as well. Those are not in my photos. And so when you are seeing people's pictures, what I eat in a day, blah, 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 sometimes it doesn't include everything. And so you have to ask the questions, is this really all you ate today? Because sometimes it's not. I have had some snacks recently where I try not to have snacks. Actually, I'm trying to think back. I shortened when I eat my dinner. I eat dinner at 5 now instead of waiting till my husband comes in from outside. I used to love for us all to sit together to eat, but it's just not right for my blood sugar. So now I eat alone at 5. Sometimes my daughter will eat with me, but sometimes she'll eat with her dad. But I just made that rule so that I'm not snacking anymore. If I'm hungry at 5 o'clock, then I need to eat dinner, and then I eat dinner and I'm not hungry later. And so that works for me. So it's really finding out what's right for you. So we think of candy and high sugar foods. I'm not eating those. Now, the chocolate chips I eat are very, very dark chocolate, and they are do not have sugar. That's like cocoa nibs. I love cocoa nibs. They're very bitter. Some people don't like them. And so I'm not eating candy and things like that. And so for my blood sugar to be spiking is not from candies and sugars. Other things that can really spike it are processed foods, crackers, breads. So many people come to me saying, well, I am eating gluten-free bread. I'm not eating bread. I'm eating gluten-free crackers. I'm not eating saltines anymore. But those will still spike your blood sugar. They're still made with usually rice flour, tapioca, maybe arrowroot. All of those cause blood sugar to go up. You might as well be eating sugar when you do that. So sometimes people get even sicker when they switch to gluten-free foods because then they think I'm eating healthier and they eat even more than they did before they switched to gluten free. Now, I'm not telling you to eat the gluten either, especially if you have a diagnosis with an autoimmune condition or a cancer or any other thing. It can be causing inflammation somewhere in your body. And as we talked about last week, we don't know where that inflammation is going to occur. And so gluten is out, but the gluten-free products are out too. If you want gluten-free substitutions, look for things like zoodles or koodles. Those are cucumber noodles, or even carrot noodles if your body can handle raw carrots. I do love raw carrot noodles. I'll make beet noodles. Beets aren't right for me, but I love cucumber noodles and I love zoodles. And so those are great. I've made lasagna with slices of turnip. Or ravioli with slices of turnip. Dr. Rita Marie, that was in her book. And so I was like, what? But I don't know if I like turnips, but they're not bitter when you slice them really thin. And then I made like a cashew cheese for the filling. So that is a really great way to eat like a lasagna or ravioli without having the pasta or something that will spike your blood sugar. So you can be avoiding sugar and still develop diabetes. Stress, inflammation, poor sleep, lack of exercise, all of these can lead to insulin resistance, which leads to diabetes. Our little cell receptors, they get bent, and then we can't get the glucose into the cells, and that can be caused from inflammation and stress. Now, I'm wondering if, because my breakfast didn't go over 107, but my fasting glucose was 117, I woke up this morning. I was like, the alarm hasn't gone off yet. What time is it? When do I need to get up? I need to do this, this, and this morning. I've got to do this right away. And so in my head, I was stressing out before I even got out of the bed and checked my blood sugar. And so I think for me, stress has more to do than the food. Unfortunately, I'm pricking my finger with one of those glucose monitors. And so I'm always checking it after I eat, where if I had a CGM, unfortunately here in the United States, you have to have a prescription, or you can go through some companies. There are some better prices, but for me, the way I would like to do it, it would be over $1,000. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to invest in that at this time. But you wear it and it will show you. And it's crazy. When I did wear one, I wore one for 2 weeks a year ago. When I got stressed out is when my blood sugar would spike. Foods didn't do it so much, but stress definitely. So even if you're pricking your finger, if you're stressed out, what's it going to be when I check it? That may cause it to go up too. So your hemoglobin A1C is going to show you a good marker. And if you can get a CGM, that's even better. If you don't live here in the US, then it's even easier. You can even buy them off the shelves, I believe. That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true, but here there are some companies here in the United States where you can get them without a prescription. But you can always ask your doctor too. If your hemoglobin A1C is elevated, if it's 5.7 or higher, then you should be able to get one. However, I do have a client whose doctor will not give her one. And so it's just very disappointing. Anyway, that is a great way to have your blood sugar checked. So are you confused about what to eat? Because like I said, some people eat diabetes and they eat oats to help with their blood sugar. But for some people, eating oats causes blood sugar to go up. And so it gets really, really confusing. You really have to hone in on your genetics your body style. So somebody can go and they can eat potatoes and sweet potatoes and these root vegetables and keep their blood sugar low, where somebody else eats those and their blood sugar goes high. Some people can eat like a keto style diet with lots of fats, even if it's a plant-based keto with lots of nuts and seeds, and they can keep their blood sugar low, but then their cholesterol can go really high. But for some people, they can eat that way and their cholesterol does not go high. Now, for me, cholesterol is in my genes, and so I have to watch those things as well. So it really gets down to personalized nutrition, which is something Dr. Rita Marie is going to be talking about this weekend in her summit. I'm actually going to be a teacher. I'll be talking about preparing foods for your individual needs during it. I'll put a link in the bottom for those of you who haven't signed up. I think some of you are going to be there. I started following Dr. Rita Marie, oh my gosh, probably 4 or 5 years ago through her July summits. And you just learn so much wonderful information. And so I strongly encourage you to do that. And she talks a lot about things like blood sugar. So what should happen when you eat food? So when you eat, number one, we chew, right? That's my number 2 rule. Number 1, read the ingredients. Number 2, chew, chew, chew. And if you did the salad challenge, there was a whole day where Jen talked about, Jennifer, chewing. So chew your food. So when you chew, when you smell your food, when you chew, enzymes release in your mouth to help break down carbohydrates. That's where the amylase enzymes are that start carbohydrate digestion. So we want to make sure we're chewing really well. So you make this really great smoothie with all these fruits and things, and then you drink it with a straw and suck it on down without chewing. You just skipped your first step. And so you don't want to do that. You want to chew. So even when you make a smoothie, put it in a bowl, add some chia seeds, let them get nice and plump, and eat so that you're chewing. Chew, chew, chew. Chop up some of the fruit and put it on top. Put some frozen fruit on top if your blood sugar handles it, so that you're chewing. You want to make sure that you're chewing. So that's where we start. First we chew, and then we swallow, and it passes down into our stomach where the protein digestion begins. And then food passes into the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine. And here it's bathed in a lot of digestive juices that come from the pancreas. And then the acid from the stomach is neutralized, and we start absorbing different things. Bile is released from the gallbladder, and everything's broken down. So what does bile do? Bile breaks down your fats into the fatty acids so that it can all be absorbed through your intestinal lining. Hopefully you have a nice calm intestinal lining. As the carbohydrates are further broken down into the glucose in that small intestine, they're released into the bloodstream, which signals the pancreas to increase insulin. We need insulin. Insulin drives the glucose into your blood cells. So every cell needs glucose. Every cell needs glucose, but the glucose cannot get in without the insulin to carry it through the door. And if the glucose doesn't go in, it stays in your bloodstream. And think of rock crystals. I talked about this before. If you've ever made rock candy, it's spiky. It causes damage in your intestinal linings, which creates inflammation. And then we start creating the cyclical problem, right? We're building up inflammation in the intestines. What repairs that? Cholesterol. Cholesterol is coming to fix it. Cholesterol is increasing. What do we use to help repair? We use lots of minerals, number 1, but we also use calcium, and calcium can get clogged up in the cholesterol, which causes hardening of the plaque. So most people end up developing heart conditions when they have elevated glucose. And so we want to make sure that that's not what happens. We want to make sure our insulin receptors stay nice and strong and vibrant so they can take in the glucose into the cells, and then we can use that. And then we have vibrant energy. We're feeling great because the glucose is going where it's supposed to be. Because like I said, every cell needs carbohydrates. So we can't just eliminate carbohydrates from our diet. We have to choose the right foods and the right amount of carbohydrates. So our carbohydrates are in our plant foods. There's a little bit in some of our other products as well. Your real whole foods contain a combination of carbohydrates, fats, and amino acids. I'm not using the word protein because our body doesn't take the protein from an animal. If you eat steak, I don't, but if you eat steak, you're not eating the steak and it's turning into something. Our body has to break it down into the amino acids. The same thing with the plants. We eat the plants, it breaks it down into the amino acids. We have to get those amino acids. So all plants are made of carbohydrates, our leafy greens, our fruits, our tomatoes, our berries, our beans, our peas, our rice, our oats, olives have carbohydrates. But if we process it into olive oil, we just got rid of the carbohydrates. We're left with only the fat, only the oil. So that's another reason why we don't want to process our foods. Nuts and seeds are very high in fat, but they still contain some carbohydrates. Beans have a lot of carbohydrates, but they still have some proteins and some fat. And so we want the whole foods that have all of them. So most processed foods, foods that you don't find on a farm, do contain carbohydrates. So food is a really poor choice of words for things like pasta, flour, crackers, breads, muffins, cakes, cookies, pizza dough, pastries, donuts, batter on your fried foods, sugar in juices. Pasteurized juice is sugar. Teas, sweetened tea, sodas, energy drinks, alcoholic beverages, all of these contain glucose, but not the kind that comes in a whole food. And not all carbohydrates are created the same. So are seen as your body the same. Your body was not created to recognize Cheetos. Cheetos have all these ingredients that don't grow on the farm. So you may eat it as a food. You're saying, I'm eating this snack, it's a food, but your body is going to create inflammation to protect you from this Cheeto because it's not an actual food. It's not something that is in nature. It is a man-made product. And so we need to think about that when we're eating these processed store-bought foods. We don't want to create inflammation from eating those. So sometimes these packaged foods have added vitamins and minerals and even fiber added to them. But these added forms of even the vitamins and minerals are synthetic. And they cannot counteract the inflammation that is created from these other ingredients. And so you're not safe because you're eating something that has these vitamins and minerals added to it. It doesn't protect you. You're still eating something that's highly inflammatory, and those are not going to counteract that. And when we eat these synthetic vitamins and minerals, our body doesn't see it as it does in the same form. Like we have so many minerals in our dark leafy greens, but those minerals are easily assimilated into our body. Whereas if we take a vitamin or supplement that is man-made, our body has to break it all down to get into the little parts, and then we absorb part of it. If our body handles whatever fillers are included, if our body handles the cellulose capsule or the gelatin capsule that's in there as well. So think about all of the things your body has to break down just to get those vitamins and minerals. So that's a tangent. So every cell needs glucose. I keep telling you this. This means that we must get glucose into the body. This means you have to eat foods that do contain some carbohydrates. You can't just eliminate them. Eating real whole fruits and vegetables can help satisfy that need, but it's necessary to make sure you include it with the fiber. And so, like, when we drink, like, fruit juices can cause your blood sugar to go up. If you buy store-bought juices, not only has it been stripped of the fiber, it's been heat processed, unless it says cold processed, unpasteurized. And so then it's been, all the enzymes are even killed in there as well. So when you drink it, it's going to cause your blood sugar to go up. And so how do I know if blood sugar is an issue for me? First, if you've ever had a fasting glucose test at your doctor's office, that's a start. Pre-diabetes is when your fasting glucose is between 100 and 125. So I told you when mine was so high this morning, I was like, oh my God. If your fasting sugar is in that range, we need to get focused and we need to work on it. So inflammation is already occurring. You can experience damage to your eyes, damage to the retina when your fasting glucose is only 105. And so if we wait till our doctor says, hey, you have diabetes, we've already had damage to the retina. I don't want that to happen. So we want to make sure that we get to it before it becomes a problem. So make sure you ask your doctor for an A1C. Excuse me. Like I said, this test shows your average blood sugar over the past 3 months. So you can see what your body's been doing. And it gives us a better indicator of where you're going beyond just when you're testing with pricking your fingers. And like I said, it can be affected by stress and sleep and things like that too. If you don't sleep well, it's going to be higher. You wake up like I did this morning under a lot of stress, it's going to be higher. And so we need to look at that. So what are some signs that your blood sugar may be dysregulated? One, always thirsty. Thirst is a big sign. Always having to urinate, feeling dizzy, tingly in the hands and feet. Now, these, if you have these, it doesn't mean that you have diabetes. It could be related to other things as well. Tingling in the hands and feet could be a problem with vitamin B12. And so, as if you have a lot of these symptoms, then we need to look at it. But in general, because 92% of Americans are metabolically unwell, next time you have your annual physical, make sure you get your hemoglobin A1C checked, everybody. Unexplained weight loss, always hungry. That can be a sign that your blood sugar is dipping. Blurry vision, itchy, dry skin, fatigue, slow healing, irritated gums, frequent yeast infections, dark patches on your skin, headaches, nerve damage, loss of consciousness. All of those can be related to blood sugar problems. If you have those symptoms, get your hemoglobin A1C checked, right? So what do you do if your hemoglobin A1C is elevated? First, look at what you're currently eating. Many of us do not even realize what we're eating until we write it down, or we use a tracker like MyFitnessPal or a Chronometer. I prefer Chronometer, but it's whatever is easiest for you. And I'm sure there's others out there as well. And look for hidden sugars. Remember, my number one rule is read the ingredients. I don't care what the front of the package says. They can put whatever they want on there. They're going to put something on there to make you go, oh, this is healthy. This is what I want. Flip it over. I don't care about the nutrition facts. I don't care what it says, the percent of fat or percent of carbs or whatever. I only want to know what is in the ingredients. If it's a bag, a can, a bottle, a package, whatever it is, if it has food coloring or flavoring, out it goes. Toss it in the trash. Don't say I can't waste it. You've already wasted your money buying it to begin with. It's garbage and you are not a garbage can. Look for words that end in OSE. Those are signs of sugar. Watch your saturated fat. If you're using a tracker, avoid if you already have high blood glucose, you want to make sure you're not eating meats and dairies that are high in saturated fats. You want to cut those back. If you do eat meat, I don't eat meat. Choose lean meats. Making sure that they are pasture raised and pastured finished, grass finished. Most, even organic meats, they're raised on grass, but then they're sent to a feedlot to fatten up before they're slaughtered, and they're fed grains and corn to make them fat. Listen to that, grains and corn to fatten them up. Cows don't naturally eat corn, but they give it to them to fatten them up. So should we be eating corn? Think about it. So get plenty of exercises. Some of the best things to do are walking and strength training. Strength training is a really great way to help get glucose moved into your cells. Strength training and muscle building increases your efficiency when it comes to glucose. Create a stress management plan. So Jennifer is my coach for stress management. She is trained in that, Jennifer Swank. So if you did not meet her in the Salad Challenge, I encourage you to meet her. She is here in this group, and she's doing the reset with me. When you're under stress, your adrenals release cortisol, which tells your body to release sugar into the blood. So when you are stressed, your body thinks you're in danger. It doesn't think that it's, oh, I need to hurry and get dinner ready and everything's going to be fine. And even when I just worry, oh, I got to get cooking, I got to work on this, your body sees that as danger. We weren't created worrying about stuff like that. And so your body prepares you to run or fight. If your blood glucose is out of control, get an eye exam. The eyes are easily damaged by excess sugar. Cut out inflammatory foods. If you're a meat eater, decrease the amount of meat you're eating. Red meat, limit it to 1 time a week. Listen to that again, 1 time a week. You don't know how many clients I have who eat meat 3 times a day. Let's change our red meat to 1 time a week. That is not only great for your blood sugar, it's great for your heart as well. Cold water fish, 2 servings a week. White meat, 2 servings a week. Eggs, 2 to 4 servings a week. Now, these are only if you do eat animal products. If you don't eat animal products, you don't need them. You don't need them. We can restructure the way you eat so you don't eat them, and eliminate all processed meats. We don't need deli meats. Those are dangerous. Look it up, Google it. Hot dogs, those are called cancer sticks. No more hot dogs. Hot dogs are out. Deli meats are out. Don't eat them. So one thing is clear, we should eat real whole foods that have fiber, healthy fats, and lean proteins. Sugar is no one's friend. Processed foods like pasta, pastries, and chips act like sugar in the body. Your body sees those as sugar. They're very, very inflammatory. Don't eat them. So if this is overwhelming to you, pick one thing that you can change this week and make it a goal for you to work on it while you learn more about some of these other things. So if you've been eating pasta, and you're like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna give up my pasta. Look up ways you can give up your pasta. This week, you only focus on pasta. Don't worry about all the other things and just make one change at a time. The 5-day reset is next Monday. It starts Monday. Recipes go out Wednesday. You can still join. Many of you in my group have been through it before. I call you my rebooters, and you got a special email with a special price to get in. So you can still come back and do it again. I need it every time. I do it every season. I need it. I have been slacking off. I told you my blood glucose was high yesterday. I cannot get away with eating the way I've been eating. I need to hone in and start trimming the fat, to say. And so I think that all of us need that. I mean, in the summertime, we enjoy ourselves and go and do things, and then these tiny habits start to add up, and we can't let it go. I am up to at least 2 tablespoons of cocoa every day. What? I'm having all this cocoa, and cocoa is not good for me. And I told you about the oat milk. I need to find a substitute for that, or I need to just cut it out completely. And I need to work on stress management. In the reset, we hold each other accountable. We all post what we're eating and doing. And the more we share, the more we all get out of it. So I really, really hope that you join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to add some more techniques in there as well to help with stress management. So it's not just about working on the food. Our health involves so many different things, from sleep, exercise, rest, play, community, and the food. And so we're going to be combining all of that together. And the best part is the community. I love seeing all of you in there. Anyway, I hope this information was helpful to you. I didn't see any questions pop up. If you have any questions, please post in the comment. I'll put a link to the reset in here as well. If you have questions about the reset, let me know. And I look forward to hearing from you. And those of you who are in the reset, be looking for your recipes on Wednesday. If you're having trouble getting into the Facebook group, it's a separate Facebook group. Make sure you DM me or comment and say, hey, I can't get in the Facebook group, so that I can get you in the 5-day summer reset group. Anyway, have a fabulous week.